Champions and Pioneers. We got our survey, and I wanted to, for those of you that are looking for property and you've never heard of a survey or you've never seen a survey, I wanted to share what the survey really looks like and the reasons for it, and why it's important to make sure and acquire a survey, whether it's through the seller or through an actual surveyor that you pay, before you sign your name to the dotted line. So this is the survey for what is considered the 40 acres in a cabin, and as you can see right here, it's not an exact 40 acres. So we know that it's going to be 39.168 acres and not 40. So that's something that you need. Our listing that we saw said it was 40 acres. And there was a plus and a minus, which always means it could be a little more or it could be a little less. This is a lot less. And for me, it's a misleading. If it was maybe a few points off, 5-10 points off, this is a huge deduction when you're talking about land. Because as I mentioned in the last video, we have several homesteaders, even on the YouTube community, that are living off, you know, the difference between this and a full 40. So it's super, super important. So what a survey really does is it gives you the boundaries of your property, and it ignores the fencing that's currently on the property. Whether it had fencing or not fencing, it wouldn't matter, but a survey is going to ignore the fence, and it's going to allow you to know exactly. Let's just say that the fence is over here. Well, that would mean that the fence belongs to this owner, not us. If the fence was over here, that means that we can move the fence to the boundary. And he's indicated that he put iron pins here, and he put them over on each end of the property, and where the X's are, there's markers. He gives you the exact measurements, so you can actually literally take a measure. You know, I think the land measuring instruments are more the kind that you roll, so you could buy one. They're very easy to find, and you just roll it and you could measure the exact area. So really what's important here is that you get, you know, all of the measurements of the property. And here they marked where the garage was, but they didn't mark where the house, the cabin is, which is unusual, or the other outbuildings. I think that's just, this is the road, the county road that's being maintained by the county. And this is our entrance to the property. And he put an iron pin here, obviously, so it's way down from our drive. And what we love about this property is that it's a complete square. And it's not oblong, it's not really difficult to measure out, it's not a weird shape, you know. And again, pins over here, so that we're going to be able to go the day before closing, and we're going to be able to look at all of his markers to know exactly if this is our fence or is this our neighbor's fence on either one. What's unique about this survey that was not found on the survey that was registered back in, I think, 93 or 94 was this road right here. This was a complete shock, because in Texas we don't mark roads like this. This road, if you can catch my mouse here, I'll use the pen. What's unique about this is the road goes all the way down. You can see it even goes north of the property. And they're calling it an existing woods road. Well, it sparked an alarm for my husband and I, because we were unaware of any kind of road going through the property. So I called the surveyor's office and asked, you know, some questions about literally why they've noted a road, and they said basically it looks like a dirt trail that's predominant on the property, And obviously we know that the owners of this property, the current owners, have left the property available to anybody that chooses to run through it. So our concerns are now documented that this is what's happening, is you're having people go from one end of the property to the other. There is no posted signs, and in Arkansas you paint things purple. I think like the trees purple at some areas so that people know that this is a private area. So super, super important to get a survey so you know exactly what you're buying. Where is your property line? Very, very, very important. And then obviously the survey is going to give you, well, it gave us the name of the owner directly next to us, and for some odd reason they've put in for a survey as well. We don't know why. I've asked that the realtor kind of poke around to see why. Are they going to put this up for sale? Because we might be interested in that property. Or is are they just trying to make sure that when we get our survey that the boundaries match up? I don't know. Surveys cost quite a bit of money. Ours cost around $2,100. So this document is going to be just a sheet of gold for us if we ever have an issue. Or when we go to sell the property again, we know exactly what we're selling. And we know exactly what other people you know, are looking at, where your property line is. Good fences make good neighbors, and we want to know our fence, where that lies. So as you look at the property from this position, north goes this way and south goes this way, and west and east as far as, you know, the United States. So the cabin is situated, it's facing south, and it doesn't face east or west, so you're not going to get that extreme heat at all. So that's really, really good too. So I'm going to switch over because I want to show y'all something that really wasn't identified as well. And something I talked to the surveyor about was, this is, let me repopulate this map. The internet is not a super good in this temporary place that we're living in, but I wanted to kind of show you. This is Google Maps, okay? And as you can see, this is the road that leads to the property. So you kind of remember it from the survey just a second ago. And of course, this is, you know, you can more defines the buildings. This is the cabin, this is the outbuilding, this is the barn, and then this is the garage, or with the hay barn right over here. This is the pond that's right off the house, and then there's a pond right over in this area, right over here, this area right here. So one of the things when we were doing the research on the property, and something that you may choose to do, is really Google Earth your property and find out who's around you. Because this is how we found out, by looking, really zooming in close to this land and noticing that people were driving in and out of it. Because as you can tell, they're making roads with their four-wheelers. Okay, so I'm gonna just move the map over here to show you. See this right here? This is a road that people are making with trucks, four-wheelers, ATVs, and look y'all down over here. Do you see this? This is not a property owner, and they're not necessarily a squatter. It's hunters that are camping out here many times during the year, and what they're doing is, because no one is living here as a full-time residence, they've got roads they're putting in everywhere with their ATVs and their trucks, and I mean it spans forever. They are just hunting the heck out of this land, and they're building, and they have built a road that goes up through our property, which has now been identified on that survey as Woods Road, which is a generic name they give roads that are man-made and have no significance to the actual survey, which I found out. So I pointed this out to the realtor when we first was looking at the property, and he said there's nobody in that area at all. There's no hunters, there's no there's nothing to be concerned about because you're not going to have an actual neighbor. And we argued with him, and well, he wasn't going to have the argument. He just refused to believe it. And I got home to Texas, and I sent him some screenshots of the area, and he could not believe what I had found. And this is Google Earth dated 2017, which we've just approached. And they've not moved. The game warden has been monitoring this property ever since I brought it up. And we're going to, you know, befriend the game warden to ensure that we can secure this down and lock down. You know, I don't really want 5 hunters with guns showing up when my husband is not at home. So I really want to feel safe within my own bounds of my own residence without having people roaming through here with guns. And I've got dogs and, you know, maybe critters at that time or even other animals. I don't really want hunters driving through and disrupting or disturbing or stressing out my animals. So this is something everybody can do if you have the internet, you have the access, or even go to a library where it's free. You can start poking around and looking about where all the things that are, you know, around your property. Now, as you can see, my husband and I will not have an actual, you know, neighbor per se, because our property ends about, let's see if I can go back to the survey. It ends about the turn of this, right at the turn of this road right here. So let's go back. So it's going to end about probably right here. And as you can see, there is no close neighbor. But you can see that the hunters have gone through this area too. So I just want to point out something that you should look at when you're looking at land to really find out, you know, who's around you, what's going on. And, you know, it has electricity to the property. The pole is right here to the road. And, you know, obviously the cabin is got electricity for now. But it's so important. Now, even in the Google Maps, I don't see the fencing, but it's there. I've seen it personally, so I know it is there. But we're going to go, we've got our survey now. We're agreeable with the survey, so we are going to be getting a closing date any day now, and we'll be driving up probably a couple days before we close on the property. And we're going to we're going to physically walk this property, all 40 acres. We're going to walk a complete square of the property so that we know exactly what we're buying, and we're going to look at everything. And we're going to put up posted signs. After we close, we'll come back and do posted signs, and we'll start hanging gates. We're going to take a couple days and probably stay in a nearby area. This cabin is not quite ready for an overnight stay, in my opinion. So we're going to stay close by, but we're going to be securing the property and putting up cameras and things to ensure that when we leave, we have locked the property down and it has been secured while we await our next move, which is, you know, for my husband to give notice to his job and find out if he's going to be working in a remote capacity or if, you know, he's going to be leaving the company. And that won't probably happen until April. So our goal is to be out of there mid-April, 1st of May. If it goes into June, we may have a change of plans. I do not want to move to this place in the heat of the summer. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what's working and what's not working. And while I'm not pretentious, I don't really want to be juggling boxes and trying to unpack and do all that stuff and juggling my animals, my 2 dogs, under a lot of heat and stress to the property. So we either need to do it early on, or we'll, you know, that's going to push us back into the end of the year, which I really hope that's not what we do. Anyway, so I wanted to share this video. If you are looking for land, be sure and use all the free tools that you can. This is Google Earth. And make sure that, you know, you get your surveys done. And it's worth it. I know they're expensive, but it's so worth it to know exactly what you're buying, because, you know, even typically in a land purchase, no one's really happy to hand over a piece of paper they paid thousands of dollars for. And the more acreage you have, obviously the more expensive. If this were a 5-acre tract, it would not cost what it costs. So, and then if we ask them to put more markers or do any more specific, it would have been more. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks everybody. Have a blessed day.